In last presentation, we discussed how those problematic policies are generated. And in this paper, we say, okay, those policies are already here. So what we can do something to increase the readability or engagement of those nobody-liked policies. So the title of this paper is A New Hope. So some of you like Star Wars. So last paper, the title is a Trap, and for now, this one is A New Hope. So it's kind of like a series, and try to make it a trilogy in next year USENIX. So in this paper, we propose the contextual privacy policies for mobile applications and approach toward automated generation. And this work is a collaboration within 4 institutions across 3 continents. And privacy issues are making headlines every day, which is why we are here. And the privacy policies are essential and critical, although they are problematic. But in regulations, they clearly required that developers need to provide one privacy policy. Like in our Australian, the APP, Australian Privacy Principle, says you need to have an up-to-date and clear expressed policy. And also, if you have a problematic policy, you may have some legal problem. Like here, I screenshot some legal case in the States, and you say the policies will become kind of the evidence when people are doing the legal suit with these big tech giants. And of course, policy is the pivot of current software privacy ecosystem. In last study, we focused more on the policy and the privacy laws. And in this paper, we focus more on the user-centered perspective, which is how the end users can better engage or interact with the privacy policies. So people do not read privacy policies. Neither do I. Like I never read policy until I start my PhD working on this topic. So yeah. And according to a study, about 74% users don't read, but I think this rate actually should be something over 95. And because people do not read policies, user-centered privacy policy and usable privacy technologies are presently needed to tackle this problem. And we do some more thing on why people do not read privacy policy or PPs. We conclude 2 factors. First is disconnection. Now privacy policy is kind of disconnect with the actual using scenarios of your mobile apps. You accept the policy first, and then you use the app. I mean, it's kind of disconnected. When you're reading the policy, you do not know what does it mean in the actual app. And when using the app, like you've already forgot what they say in the privacy policy. So this disconnection is a major factor hinders people to engage with policy. And of course, the second factor is poor readability. And it's lengthy, it's long, and across another study, the readability score is 46 out of 100 for leading apps. So, which means readers should have at least college-level education background to easily read the privacy policy, which is definitely not what we want. And for the connection, actually, there are already much effort from the either industry and research community towards on the just-in-time privacy policy or privacy notice. So before Android 6, you see some reminder like this. So that's when you first install an app, you will the users will be show a reminder like this, and you need to click accept. And then they keep develop this just-in-time concept. And after Android 6, you will be seeing something like this. So instead of when you just install this app, and here is the invoke time. So when you first time need to use a certain permission, for example, the camera or the microphone, such reminder will pop up. And you, as a user, you need to grant the consent to use certain permission. And in our paper, we propose a context-aware privacy policy. So basically, no matter which user scenario you are using for app, you can always access to the relevant privacy policies. And to counter the readability, in CHI 2022, there's a paper called Contextual Privacy Policy for Website. So basically what they do is for each website, they detect some certain privacy-related context. For example, this cookie banner, and then they fetch relevant sentence from the original privacy policy. And inspired by their work, we propose the contextual privacy policy for mobile apps. So basically, we just when you use your mobile apps, we can always help you detect the privacy-related context based on your current user interface. And from the Lindsay privacy policy, we fetch the relevant sentence to you. So the aim of this CPP is to fragment Lindsay policy into context snippet and display them only with the corresponding context on your GUI, which is a graphic user interface. So here is the pipeline of how we generate such CPP, contextual privacy policy, for mobile apps. So we adapt computer vision techniques, NLP techniques, and also the large language model to help us understanding what's going on. So there are two major modules. First is context detection module, and second is segment extraction module. So we first go to this context detection module. So our input for your, our input is your UI. So here is a screenshot of your user interface. So this can be any UI for your app. And then we adapt the computer vision techniques. So we first detect all like textual component on your screen. We use the existing OCR techniques. And then we do the understanding of your textual component. And we can have something like this, share your location. So we can detect such textual component on this on this UI. And then we also use some rule-based geometric computer vision techniques to detect all the iconic component on your user interface. So here, this map mark icon is certainly related with the location. So we can detect such icon and classify it is related to your location, and then we can detect it out and have a label of it, which is about location. So that's how we detect the privacy context in your user interface. And for the privacy policy processing, there are already many previous work have discussed this topic, and we just adapt some of them. So we first conduct the pre-processing, and then we use some NLP techniques to do the document analysis. So we can extract it, all the sentences or segments related to the location information. And then eventually we just combine them together and import some keyword and then put it on your user interface. So you can see the icon, the share your location textual component, and the relevant privacy policy segment. So by doing so, like user can immediately aware of the privacy-related practice, and also always can refer to the privacy policy disclosures. And then we evaluate our method by quantitative and qualitative. So for the quantitative evaluation, we first build up a data set to evaluate our framework. So we want to make sure that our framework is accurate, is usable. So we create a data set called CPP4APP. We collect over 400 screenshots and from over 50 mobile apps, and accompanied by over 1,000 labeled privacy context and the policy segment pairs. And then we conduct the evaluations. So for the iconic component, we use the IOU to detect whether we successfully detect some iconic component from the screen. And for the privacy policy segment retrieval, we use a modified LCS, the longest common string, to judge whether our retrieval is successful or not. And our overall performance is in this the last table. So you see the accuracy, precision recall is pretty satisfying as excuse me, as a useful tool to generate contextual privacy policy. And then to mapping back to our two core motivation, the disconnection and the readability, we further conduct the human evaluation. So we want to make sure that our privacy knowledge and context is closely connect and correctly connect to each other. So according to our study, about over 77% of the extracted policy segment were preserved as well aligned with the detected context. So which means what we detected and what we present on your screen is well aligned with each other. And then for the readability, over 93% of participants evaluate as useful or very useful. And for the reading willingness of our CPP, the average score is surged from 2 to 4.1 compared against the traditional privacy policy. So by this number, we can see that such CPP can better engage with our the app users and potentially policy readers to make them to better understand, to better engage with those privacy disclosure. And we also discussed the limitations of our framework. So one thing is obviously the efficiency, because we aim to provide kind of a real-time CPP for the users. But as you see, we adopt many computer vision techniques, NLP techniques, which is quite time-consuming. So for now, it's still a little bit hard to find a very balanced technique combination to implement our CPP framework to support in real-time generation of CPP. And also for the evaluation, our user study is not very completed, and the study size is relatively small. And also for the UX and UI perspective, because it's always have a privacy and utility trade-off, right? So people definitely do not want such disclosure always popping up on your screen, right? So how to better display our CPP on the screen is another future work of our paper. And we also discussed potential adoption scenario for our CPP in the existing mobile app market, for example, the Google Play Store. Due to time limit, I will just quickly go through to the conclusion. So our CPP can make the policy more accessible and inclusive, and our showcase website demo are here. And that's the end of my presentation, and I'm on the faculty job market. And thanks for listening.